Well, it goes way back. My dad played. You know, he was quite a good musician. He was an excellent singer and had some opportunities that you know, that I'm sure he probably looked back on and said, well, if I'd have taken them, and didn't. But he had a young family, namely me, and you know, had that day job, and of course I'm better off for it. But I really I loved my dad playing, idolized him his playing, and as a matter of fact, I was always, it really made me sad. He was I guess probably my biggest fan, maybe next to my mom. And but he passed away just a few months before the first time I played the Saturday Night Grand Ole Opry, and I felt he was there with me. Yeah. But yeah, from the time I was can remember really 4 or 5 years old, you know, Dad and his friend. Dad was a really good singer, good tenor singer, and I would listen to them and try to keep up with it. And he'd tell me, "Leave my guitar alone, boy." And of course, that just spurred me on. But I got to playing guitar, you know, when I was young, fooling around with it, and he played harmonica, and we had three records. We had an old wind-up Victrola. I had a Bill Monroe and a Hank Williams and a Jimmy Rogers, and so that was my home base right there, and which pretty good start for me, I think. And you know, that coupled with Dad, he was a big Jimmy Rogers fan, and he knew all the Jimmy Rogers songs, and so I started off, you know, playing with Dad, you know, just at home around the house, and he you know, he was really encouraging, always encouraging to me, and I was probably, I think I was around 12 when I got my first good guitar. The first one I had, I could, if I dropped my pick, I could stick my hand down the crack and get it out, you know. But I wanted a better guitar, and of course, you know, we weren't poor, but we didn't have money to throw around, you know, for Gibson guitars and the like and so on. But he did tell me that I was working, doing whatever I could to save a few pennies here and there, you know, no matter whatever a kid could do, you know, earn money, you know, cut wood or cut grass or whatever, and haul hay. But anyway, he said, if you can save up enough money for a down payment, he said, well, I'll make the payments, and he said, we'll just go half on it. And by golly, I come up with $52 after a long, hard saving period, months and months and months, and we went and got a Gibson L50 arch top, and
nice guitar.
Oh yeah, I just thought I was on top of the world, you know, with that.
Do you still have that one?
No, I wish you hadn't asked that, because that brings a tear to my eye every time. I don't know, it's one of those crazy things. But I played that one, and then. You know, as kids would get, you know, I was a teenager, and when I was a teenager, rock and roll just starting to come in, you know, and I was hearing Chuck Berry and all these guys, and I got the you know, the rock and roll bug bad, and you know, was trying to do that, and so I wound up. Then I really got a step up when I was about 14. My uncle, who he was into a lot of diverse business and everything. Anyway, him and my dad come up with a way to get me a 1958 Gretsch 6120 Chet Atkins model, the orange one. And man, I'll never forget my first laid eyes on that. And, but I started playing that, and of course Dad said, son, you'll never amount to nothing playing that rock and roll, you know, and he was right, I never amounted to nothing. But anyway, I went through that phase for a while, and got I got into blues. I really liked the blues. If I weren't playing bluegrass, I'd probably be playing blues, and I just really enjoy it. I like the emotion. That's what draws me to bluegrass, is the emotion of the music. You know, and there's nothing more emotive than blues.
Yeah.
And
I think that's interesting because of the strong connection with blues and bluegrass, you know.
me too. Oh, me too. And Bill Monroe had a very strong, you know, you put Southern gospel, or, you know, put the gospel of the South, country gospel along with blues, and you got bluegrass.
Yeah.
You know, and of course he was the genius that put all that together in a way that changed the world of music.
Yep.
I think, anyway. And but anyway, that's kind of how, you know, I got into that. And then when I got married young, and of course I always had the bluegrass roots. I mean, where I was raised, everybody played bluegrass, and you know, and the part of the country down. Of course, you've been down around Emnix, Missouri, Somerville. It's all bluegrass country, you know, and anyway, a lot of guys, you know, Dillards, Don Brown, a lot of us in that area, you know, there, and my uncle, who you might remember her name, James Orchard.
Oh yeah.
And James, you know, he put on several festivals, quite a year, and he, you know, played all around down that area. Well, my uncle was his brother, and he married my mom's sister, young sister, and they were close to my age. And of course, he played Richard Orchard. It was my uncle, and he played guitar, and him and I, we did a few things. We baled hay together and did this and that, and so we started playing and a little more. And anyway, when I first started playing with him, I was fooling with the banjo, you know, and fooling with is the right word. And but I was playing banjo. He played guitar, and I got more and more, you know, just the bluegrass. I found out that's just in my blood. That's who I am, you know. So I kind of come back to that when I was very young, 19, 20, you know, and anyway, him and I started playing together, and then as it went on, the Dillards had gone to California. They were from right up the road, Salem, Missouri, and they're a mandolin player that had played some with them didn't go, a guy named Pappy Bunch. And I really don't know what Pappy, I doubt if his mama named him Pappy, but that's all I ever knew him by. Yeah. But anyway, Pappy didn't go, and then, so he stayed back, and we thought, you know, that we would, you know, he'd play mandolin with us, and it didn't take very long to find out that he was a better banjo player than I was, and so I thought, well, heck, there's no sense in having you know, him being a better banjo player. Well, I'll put him on banjo, and I'll always take up the mandolin, and that's I've been with the mandolin ever since. I think maybe because it was the easiest thing to carry in the band, maybe. But that's kind of where I evolved into the mandolin, and of course, then, you know, oh shucks, old buddy, the mandolin player for the Dillards that went to
Dean Webb.
Dean, yes. That's, you know, Dean played with them, you know, from then on out, you know, and but anyway, that's Rich and I. We played together. We started in '67 and played. He played till about '72. We started. Some things started happening. We started playing a little further out and things, and he had a good business. He was actually making money, making good living, and so he backed out, you know, at that point, and you know, I went on with the group, and here I am, still hanging around.
Well, when did you end up forming your own group, Cedar Hill?
Well, it was then '72. It was kind of just a carryover from actually what I had done. It was pretty well the same group. Well, obviously I hired a couple different guys in when he left, but a couple of the same players stayed with me. And I just changed the name to Cedar Hill. We were some kind of let's see. I think our name was really catchy, something like Rich Orchard, Frank Ray, and the Ramblin' Bluegrass Boys. I believe that's what it was. Yeah. But anyway, I was thinking there's got to be a better name, or something a little easier to say and remember. But anyway, about that time, I was playing over in Cedar Hill, Missouri, and we're playing a 4th of July thing. Kind of a funny little story, but anyway, 4th of July thing, there was a young banjo player named Jimmy Bunch, and was very good. He'd come along really good. Jimmy was just maybe 15 then, and I asked him, I said, "You like to come up on stage and play a special then, do one with us?" He said, yeah. And anyway, I said, "Well, I'll call your name, and you just come on." Well, I called his name. It was in a big field, big open field, and grassy, and I called his name, and he come running across the front of the stage and tripped over the snake wire, that come down in front of it, and boy, he just spilled on the grass there, and his banjo case flew open, but he come right on up and played, done a great job, and we got ready to leave, and he was putting his banjo back in his case, and there was clumps of grass all on his banjo case. And I said, at least you're taking some Cedar Hill grass home with you. And so bingo, to me, and at that time, it was kind of a copy off of Lester Flack, because he just coming out with Nashville grass. Mm-hmm. And anyway, I so there's the name, Cedar Hill Grass, and so anyway, that's what we were. I think the first album I cut was under Cedar Hill Grass, and but then eventually the grass part just got dropped and Cedar Hill, and that's okay. And I hired, when we formed that, Farrell Stowe, he come hooked up with me about that period, about '72, something like that, and Frank Flowers, who everybody called him Festus. I thought he was just a great singer, and playing bass. But that was kind of the beginning of Cedar Hill.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you've been at it with Cedar Hill for over 50-something years now.
Yeah, long time, Brad. It just, it seems impossible, really, to me. I look back and I've been blessed. I just consider my life blessed, and I figured out a long time ago the mark of success is financial success is good, but that's really, I think, a small measure in true success. Right. I think true success is joy, happiness, and contentment. And if you've achieved those things, you've done better than the average bear, I think.